I'm talking with Owen and Lou Butler at their Inglewood property, more particularly their maintenance workshop, which has been the basis for their hedge cutting operation over many years. How many years has it been, you guys, since
Well, we can't count, but we started off in 1943.
43, and you've operated from the site since then?
Up until 2 years ago when we took things a bit easy and semi-retired. Idea started coming to Dad's head there when we were doing a dam at Kapokanui in about 1941, I think it was, and we built the dam for the factory there. We had to go through farmland, and there's about 4 paddocks we went through, and those hedges about a chain wide they were. And of course, talking with the cockies, which they all come around and see what the hell we're doing there anyway.
Yep.
And this is all be a while if somebody come up with a decent idea to get rid of these hedges.
Because they got pretty big by that time?
Yeah, they were up to a chain wide.
Oh, right.
You had gateways cut into it, and it's more or less like a raceway on either side there. And that was when it started there. Or once we finished that job, got home here, about 12 months later, the night time the old man started working on designs and that. We used our workshop floor here as a plan there. Used to get a chalk out and mark on their design, and then you could sweep it away and start again when it was wrong. But we originated, the first one was trialled in late 1942, and in 1943 was the first contract job that we started.
And what was that built on? I mean, was
built on a 1928 Fordson steel wheel one. It was
Fordson tractor?
Fordson tractor, yes.
Right.
Yeah.
We've moved into the actual workshop now with Owen and Lou, and we're just wondering, you can see the number of parts and things that are here. I'm just wondering how many hedge cutters have been built, or hedge cutters and sweeps have been built in this workshop?
Well, in the first process of doing that, I think Dad had a couple of them that we built, and they were only more or less experimental ones that we used ours and did our neighbours there, and come in and scrapped them, we built it again. And then it got down to when the main one coming in that was good for contracting and big enough and worked perfect was in 1943. And since then, we've built 4 complete ones, that's cutters, 4 cutters and 4 sweeps to go along with them. That's in the lifetime of our hedge cutting.
Maintenance, was that pretty much a wet day sort of a job, that you'd come in and do maintenance and then cutting on finer days? Was that how it sort of worked out?
Well, it wasn't only wet days, it's when we come home from work, which we'd always have tea and we'd get down the shed here again.
So late nights?
Yeah, about 8 o'clock, and then we'd work until we couldn't, felt as though it was time we went home. Sometimes it was morning again then.
Right.
That was if we had anything to build up, or motors or something like that, we'd work all night on doing. But on wet days and that, we did a lot of our repair work with gearboxes and divs and all like that. We'd have it here, we'd have 4 or 5 all sitting here ready. That includes motors as well. So, yeah.
People watching hedge cutting are always amazed at the potential for accidents.
Yeah.
Did you ever have anything either interesting or close to an accident in the years you've been doing it?
Not to any outsiders.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's an amazing record, really, isn't it?
We're pretty fussy there. If we see any old people or young kids, we make sure they got out the paddock.
Well clear.
Especially the old man, they were the worst of the bloody lot because they walk behind and have a look, see what's going on. But no, nobody's really, wait on, there was one chap there, we were around at Okada Pangarehu, and he was well behind us, and he went right up on top of the hill watching us. And I was cutting into a hedge there, and there must have been old wire, and I picked up a piece of barbed wire, and he must have been 200 yards behind me on top of the hill, and it went right across here, bridge of his nose. Yeah, it didn't rip his eyes open, he just took skin off like that.
Because hedges would have been full of things too, because the hedges would have grown over all manner of old cars and bits and pieces. Did you ever hit? You must have hit things over the years.
Every implement you can think of, we've actually either pulled out or chopped up. Or
chopped up.
Something like that.
They don't usually work afterwards.
No, they wouldn't. And does it bring the cutter to a standstill, does it?
Oh, well, you might break a knife or something like that, or take a chip off, but we always had spare knives. Give us 5 minutes, we bang another one on and pull that hunk of junk out of the way and carry on.
Because your trucks have always been a well-known feature of trapping Taranaki roads as well. And so you carry parts enough to keep everything running, or?
Yes, well, there's always a gearbox and div. Spare ones that we carried with it, axles and all like that. Motors are the same thing, it's a bit too hard to
And you'd replace those just wherever you needed to in paddocks and things?
Yes.
Would you?
Yeah. What is it, Lou's great on replacing stuff.
How long would it take, Lou, to do a gearbox or a diff? I mean, on a Cocky's farm, how long would it take to do it?
The fastest I ever time just putting the crown wheel in the sweep was 20 minutes.
Really?
From the time we went bang, Rick was standing beside me and, oh, div gone. The act off, drain the oil, div off, back on. In 20 minutes I'd fired her up.
Goodness me.
But now,
That'd impress farmers, wouldn't it?
but now,
Well,
we didn't even see. We didn't even have a breakdown, didn't know.
Have you ever estimated how many miles you would have measured perhaps and cut over the years?
Yes.
You charge farmers what, by distance, by mile, or
By chain.
by chain? Okay.
Yeah.
And any idea of the total number of miles cut?
Well, when I said chain, we worked it out towards metres. I had down there for what is about 28,000, but over 28,000 kilometres.
Oh, good heavens.
That's in the time there is that's converting it. It was miles for a long time, but we've converted all over to
So
kilometres now.
what would you have originally charged, per chain to cut edges when you started?
When we started out there, I think for Barbary heads here, it was about 1 and 6pence a chain.
Right.
Which 1 and 6pence, yeah, 1 and 6pence a chain.
By the
So
day,
you get down to a metre there as well as about 3 cents.
and by the time you finished, what were you able to charge?
About $6, $6.80, I think it was, for the same type of thing there. That's of course, in those days, we were buying a gallon of petrol for 1 and 6.
Right.
Also, what's that about 5pence a litre?
And South Taranaki was pretty much only Boxall,
Yes.
and up North Taranaki here
yeah,
was
and
more
around here
Barbary
was
and
Barbary,
Boxall.
yeah, and around the coast there, once got another main road, one into a lot of Barbary and all like that.
And was one easier to cut than the other?
A big old man, when we talk about an old man box on old man box on could be a chain wide or something like that. But that was still reasonably easy to cut.
Right.
But an old man Barbary, they grow straight up in the air.
Yep.
And if you didn't have your revs up, your blade would follow the split down and you'd twist your blade and all like that.
I see.
Whereas a box will lie down fairly flat.
The branches are fairly
you might
horizontal.
might cut a piece foot thick.
Oh,
But you
okay.
could feel it's a softer wood and all like that, and you can do it. But if it's a Barbie, it'd be a straight one.
It's stringy, isn't it?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
And you just split, and it will split. And being a hard wood there, if you didn't have your revs up or you're going a bit too fast, you'd twist your knives and blade and all like that. So it's just a thing we got used to after a while. And
The 3 machines you've completely restored for the display at the Tawhiti Museum. Can we talk about those? Which is the oldest? There's a sweep and the 2 cutters.
yeah.
Which is the oldest of the 3?
Well, it's the one on the Bren gun carriers. They're the oldest.
They're about the same age, the
Yeah.
2. The sweep and the
It's
Bren carrier
yeah, same-
cutter would be about the same age.
Yes,
So
yeah.
they would have been,
No, mates.
okay,
Yeah.
they were a pair.
Yeah.
And built, what year do you think they're?
Second one.
54, I think it was. 52 we started out with the sweep. And I think it was 54 when the first Bren gun hedge cutter.
First Bren
Before
cutter.
that it was built on Fordsons and wheel one, and then we went for the track machine.
And the 4 before, the one built on the 4 before?
4 before was 64 when we came out with the first 4-wheel drive. 4 before. But we had 2 built on Brens, and then we had 2 on Fordsons to start with at different times. And then we had 2 on the Bren gun carriers working at the same time there. That was 2 complete units, 2 cutters and 2 sweeps. And then the 2 4-wheel drive ones. The latest one, they were the latest one, on rubber tired and all like that.
We've just moved into further into the back of the shed here. We're standing beside Lou's lathe. I can see it's a a Glasgow Scottish-made lathe, and you were just saying that it was covered in turkeys. What turkeys leave behind when you originally got it? And what sort of condition? How long did it take to get it going?
Oh, it wasn't very long. The main part here was good, just the far end, the last 6 foot that wasn't been used, that the turkeys used.
And taken up residence.
Yeah.
Now, Lee, you've been, Alan was saying that you've been responsible for where it came to doing lathing and machining and milling and so on. That was your expertise. And some of the jobs that come to mind, the things that bit difficult, bit of a challenge to you.
Well, making those axles to start with.
Oh, that'd be the first one. I didn't know how to use a lathe when I got it.
So you're self-taught and all that?
Yeah, I just put a the steel in it and see how it works. First one I ever done was it was costing a lot of money getting made, and I cut it out in 4 hours. I learned all how to work it. A few mistakes. Some of the parts on the machine, we modified them after a couple of years, and there's an old broken part out of the gearbox, and we made that fit, so welded onto something else, and that was our standard part then.
Right.
It fitted.
Yeah. Well, I know that's become one of your features of the Butler enterprise is the shed and the ability to keep machinery going. That's what people often comment on first. Is that they made machinery come out of thin air up there at Inglewood, and they just kept those machines on the road.
Wasted up one night. One thing broke, we used it for something else that was good enough, and sometimes you use it a third time, and the life used to get a lot shorter each time.
and done it in such short time frames. You just kept those cutters and sweeps going.
Well, you had to break down in the daytime, and the next day she had to be going,
Right.
regardless.
Yeah.